All righty, we'll go ahead and kick off and get started here. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to join us this afternoon at our webinar here, talk about commercial lines and what we have the ability to do for you in our online quoting systems. My name is Brian Creech. I'm the East Coast Sales Director here at Apogee, and we very much appreciate all of you joining. This is a new endeavor for us. Up until January of this year, we were exclusively professional management liability focused, and we did a little bit of general liability and whatnot on the side. But in January of this year, made a decision to go all in and really work to become a full service uh, outlet for all of you, our customers. And we're so far so good for us 2 months in. Certainly not going to be all things to all people initially. But we're very excited in what we have the ability to offer. And so we're excited to have our friends from USLI with us today. Christy Pearsall, Second Vice President, Underwriter, Senior Product Leader on Commercial Lines team there, and Connor Dunn, Assistant Vice President, InstaQuote Marketing Specialist. So going to cover some fun stuff today. And if at any point in time during the presentation, if any of you have any questions, please drop them into chat. We'll be monitoring that, and then we'll make sure we get everything answered for you. So with that, I'll kick it off to Christy and Connor.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Brian. And once again, thank you for everyone for joining us here this afternoon. We certainly appreciate it. Morning to some of you. But yes, Christy and I are here to talk, about all of the new and exciting things that you'll have access to here at USLI through Apogee. So with that, there's a lot that we'll cover here on the commercial line side as well as the easiest ways to quote both over the phone and web. As Brian had mentioned, everyone is on mute just due to the number of attendees, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to put those in the chat box down on the bottom right hand of your screen, and Christy and I will take a look and answer those as they come up. But with that, I will go ahead and kick it over to Christy.
All right, thank you, Connor and Brian, and everyone, thank you for coming. I know how busy everyone is, so I really appreciate you choosing to take a little bit of time out of your day to learn about what USLI can help you with through Apogee. So today I'm going to just do as you know, your representatives from Apogee who can help you are Brian and Brandon. Again, I'm Christy and Connor just spoke. So we are the four here that will be working on this. And now we're going to get right into it. We already talked about being muted. So what I'm going to talk today about is a very high level of our most popular segments of commercial lines business. So I want to get through this so you are out of here within 30 minutes at the very most. So like I said, it's going to be very high level. Please feel free to chat questions. I'm also happy to stay on after this for a little bit of time if anyone wants to talk a little bit more in depthly about anything. So the areas that we're really going to touch on are building and premises, contractors, habitational, commercial access and umbrella, and then some additional products that don't really have their own segment, but that we are really having a lot of success with that would be absolutely beneficial to send to Apogee for them to have us take a look at. So let's start with building and premises. And there's really two main segments of this. The first is going to be lessor's risk. So a building owner and it's occupied by a commercial tenant. USLI has very broad eligibility for the occupancy. We can consider restaurants, any type of mercantile for the most part. We can consider it when it's mixed with habitational. So if you're thinking of any main area, you're walking down a main street, if there is a restaurant, a mercantile, an office, anything like that with apartments above, that's exactly what we're talking about. So it can be just commercial or the mixed occupancy. Where we have a lot of success, where a lot of other carriers are kind of straying away from, is the restaurant with the habitational. We can consider that with commercial cooking. We can consider it with frame construction as well. So again, we have very broad eligibility when it comes to this. Did I skip a page? Nope. I just talked about lessor's risk. Sorry. So this is where I'm talking about with the lessor's risk. It also extends to land leased to others. So if I own land, it could be for farming, it could be for parking. A lot of times in larger cities, sometimes rural areas too, I might own a piece of land and then someone else physically owns the building that's there, but I am the land leased owner. So we can consider that as well. So just keep in mind, Anything on a leased aspect, that's something that USLI can consider through Apogee. Now let's talk about your vacant buildings. This is overall our largest commercial lines product that we have. Anything with a vacant aspect is something that we can consider. So we can consider anything from your just pure vacant land up to a 150,000 square foot vacant building and anything in between. We can do partially vacant, fully, we can do renovations. So it can be commercial or habitational, and we can do up to $3 million in renovations. That also includes your ground up construction. We can do at builder's risk and the GL for that. One other area that we can consider within this is the owner acting as GC. So sometimes we find that our customers have trouble placing something when maybe I'm going to be building my own home and acting as the GC, but I'm not a GC by trade. We can consider that, or if it's just renovations. So definitely vacant, anything with a vacant aspect, just think right to Apogee and you'll most likely get a quote or response from USLI. So
Christy,
Artisan
I'm sorry.
Contractors
Christy,
is,
real quick.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, so we have a question from a customer about, do you offer that, the property and the buildings in California for both the lesser's risk and the vacant building?
We do offer a property in California. With California, one thing that we do come across quite a bit are brush fire zones. So that's something that comes into play a lot of times. But yes, it is definitely something we write property NGL for lesser's risk and vacant buildings in there. And I also see, how about Florida? So Florida, we are going to exclude wind and hail in Florida, and our max TIV is going to be $1 million.
Great, thank you.
Okay. All right, so next we're going to talk about artisan contractors. Now, USLI is a trade-specific contracting market. So right now, I'm sure a lot of you are seeing remodelers, getting quotes for remodelers and handymen. That's really not what our product is intended for. It's really that trade-specific contractor. So your drywall, your painter, your carpet installation, your electrical contractor. That's really where we have the most success. We write over 30 classes of business within this segment, and we write them really well. We are typically admitted throughout the majority of the country, and I do see a question coming in here. They're coming in fast and furious. Louisiana, we do not write in the state of Louisiana. Louisiana, Alaska, and West Virginia, we do not write in. USLI doesn't. General contractor. All right, let me finish talking about artisans, and I'm going to skip to these questions here real quick. So with our artisan contractors, it's the trade specific. If they are involved in more than one trade, absolutely fine. We would just list them all. So you're not going to get a quote back from USLI that has a remodeler with, your 30 or 40 classifications. It's just going to have the classifications listed that they are involved in. We have no GL deductible, which is how we handle all of our liability products. We can have a nice little enhancement endorsement on there, which includes the per project aggregate. It includes blanket AI, blanket waiver, everything like that a contractor would need. We can also include the contractor's equipment, which is great. We can write that standalone or in conjunction. So if you come across a situation where you have a contractor and maybe they buy a large piece of equipment or something that they need coverage for, you can get a standalone quote through USLI for that as well for the contractor's equipment. Now, janitorial, a lot of carriers lump that in with contractors. We have separated that. What we have done with janitorials, we have a really, really great, with low minimum premiums, mostly admitted product. It's non-auditable. It's rated on the number of workers. It gives them every coverage they would ever need and is just a really great product. Residential and commercial cleaning. So overall, contractors and janitorial, great market. All right, I'm going to address some of these questions. So bear with me. I'll read the question. Do we write what about general contractors who do not subcontract? We do not write general contractors. How we define a general contractor is if they have more than $100,000 in sub work, or they have ever worked as a general contractor on a project. So we are not a market for general contractors. HVAC contractors, do we write those? Absolutely we do. Do we write general contractors in New York? Again, we don't do the general contractors. We do write contractors in New York. We do not offer action over, but we do write contractors. What we see a lot of are the one-man operations, maybe two men, that are just involved in a couple trades that are not licensed. We do not require our contractors to be licensed. Roofing, we do not write roofing contractors. We can write siding contractors. All right, in Alaska, we do not write in Alaska. Okay, so I'm going to move on from contractors. We're going to talk about habitational. So habitational right now, where we are a big player, are your 1 to 4 family dwellings and your residential condos, and then apartments when they are connected with a commercial occupancy. So we are currently not writing standalone apartment buildings, but we're a really great option for your 1 to 4 family dwellings and residential condos. The 1 to 4 families, we see a lot in individual names. We also see a lot in LLC and corporation names. So if you are a personal lines, or you're more focused on personal lines and you have a dwelling that's purchased, not in an individual, that's where we're going to come in and be a really great option for that. The residential condos, what that is, and whoever mentioned Florida earlier, we see a ton of this. They own an individual condo and rent it out. So that can be rented on an annual or seasonal basis. So Airbnbs would be included in that as an eligible risk for us to consider. We can go up to $3 million. For the dwellings, we write a lot of schedules. We can go up to 15 total locations per package. If it's GL only, we can go up to 100 locations. All right, truckers general liability. This is typically something that either you see a ton of it or you don't really see much of it. If you do see it, we have a fabulous product for just the truckers GL. We do not write any commercial auto. It's just the GL for the truckers. So a lot of them, in order to deliver their goods, we're seeing a ton of this with Amazon drivers. Whoever mentioned California earlier, we're seeing a lot in California. So they need to provide, a lot of times wherever they're delivering or who they're delivering for, a certificate of liability. The exposure for truckers general liability is super low, but so many of them have to have it to do their job. So we start at $400 for minimum premium. We can include a number of trucks usually within that. Most of what we see are just a one-man trucker operation. But if you see this, definitely think of Apogee to get this into USLI. Most auto carriers will lump the truckers GL into a sublimit on their auto, and it's way more expensive than what we're going to offer. So if you're looking for a way to save your truckers some money, a lot of times your option is to separate out that GL and get a really good GL policy for them. All right, I have some questions on truckers. Radius miles restrictions for truckers. We do not have any restriction on the number of miles. They just cannot operate in the states where we do not write. So the Louisiana, Alaska, and West Virginia. So we understand they might drive through there, but we don't want them doing any business in those states. Are truckers GL based on the number of owners or number of drivers or number of trucks? It's based on the number of mobile trucks. So not the trailer, but the actual mobile unit is what we rate it based on. All right. Let's move on from here. Fitness centers. So fitness centers, we can consider everything from your individual personal trainer all the way up to a Gold's Gym. Where we are most competitive are the smaller, more individually owned gyms and personal training aspects. So a lot of yoga studios, Orange Theories, all of those types of studios where you're going to go for a specific amount of time and take a class. That is one segment that we have carved out and write really, really, really well. Professional liability is included. We can do tanning if there are some tanning beds. Also, The fitness centers that are maybe a little larger than those smaller ones, that is also where we're just growing tremendously in them. One great selling point is that the defense is outside of the limits, which is great for these centers. You don't want to eat up all of your limits just in defense. Again, abuse and molestation can be added on some of them. For the personal trainers, that's a really great segment for us also. So if you have gyms and they are hiring people to come in and work for them, they're going to need that personal trainer policy. So you can get that for them too. So if you write any fitness centers, this can kind of spider out and you can get a lot more business from just one fitness center. So keep that in mind. I think there's a more general question here. I'm not sure, Brian, if you...
Yeah, I'm looking through some of them because I think we might have missed just because there's quite a few in here, but just I see one here I don't think we answered. Is lesser's risk and vacant include GL and property?
It sure does, yep. So
okay. Go ahead.
Typically, sorry. I'll touch on our TIVs. Typically, our max TIV is 3 million. So again, USLI, we're focusing on more of the small business. So that's where we're going to cut off. For frame construction, it's 2 million. Coastal areas, it's 1 million. So that's where we are on the TIV. And for GL, for lesser's risk, we can go up to 200,000 square feet. Vacant building, 150,000 square feet. So that's where our eligibility lies for those two classes.
Okay. And what about brush score in Colorado?
Yeah, so there are a lot of states that we are doing brush fire scoring in. So Colorado, Texas, believe it or not, Florida and New Jersey are two of them. Brush fires have been popping up just about everywhere these days. I typically underwrite in New Jersey. And when they told me that we were going to do it in New Jersey, I was like, really? And then literally the next week, there was a huge brush fire in New Jersey. So yes, it is something that happens in a lot of states that we are keeping our eye on.
Okay. Will we get a copy of this webinar? The answer to that is yes. We're recording this and we will be emailing out to all attendees. So that question easy. I can answer that one. So that's good. What is the maximum builder's risk limit for frame?
2 million.
2 million. Okay. Will there be some appetite guide updates sent out? I have a producer who didn't attend, but yeah, we're working on that. We'll get you some stuff out. Again, the big thing about, and I can finish this up at the end a little bit, but the big thing about, we do have other markets outside that may do some stuff that falls outside of the USLI umbrella. So we do have other markets. So, we certainly would probably have the ability to do this, but we are working on marketing guides, and Carrie, we will get something out to you. Let's see, make sure I don't miss anything else. Lesser's risk in Illinois, not a problem, correct?
Not a problem. Yep.
All right. What about a general contractor who does not subcontract?
So I'm guessing there might be a construction manager, which we would not write.
Right.
So
Apogee
really,
can write construction managers. So we
we're really just doing the one entity that's doing the work themselves. They might, like if it's a plumber, maybe they hire, a drywall guy to come in and do some drywall for them after they, rip out the drywall. So that would be a small amount of subcontractor costs, but overall it's the guy, the person doing the work.
Okay. Is siding included?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Let's make sure. I think that might be Alaska list of appetite. Sorry, I think we're, what is the loss limit on eligibility?
So we don't have a loss limit on eligibility. We are going to look at the losses and see what makes sense. Lesser's risk is one area where we are a little more strict with loss issues just due to the legal issues that there are with lesser's risk, typically trip and falls, sidewalks. What we have found is if they've had one, they're much more likely to have another. But overall, what we want to know is what caused the loss, what has been done to prevent an additional similar loss from happening, and have all repairs been made. if it was a property loss. So those are the things that we're going to look at and evaluate when we're getting a loss. There's no blanket, it's out. We want to learn about it and know about it.
Okay. You write condo association policies. I think the answer to that is yes. We're obviously Apogee writes the DNO, and I know you can do community association packages as well, depending on where it's located. But that's certainly something we can entertain. I believe Connor, the GL and the property signs, things of that nature can all get covered for condo associations. Not so much property on the condos, but certainly the GL and the umbrella, I would think, right?
That would all be more a nonprofit product for us. So yes, and we can provide a package.
Okay, and let's see, I think that might be it because we're getting to the truckers. Do you write coastal HO3s and HO6s in New Jersey?
So that would be personal lines. I believe we do, but we can get that information. Actually, I'm not sure that Apogee is writing personal.
Apogee's focusing on more of the commercial lines, so that would not be something that you would quote through them.
Yeah, personal lines, HO3s, HO6s, Apogee is definitely not a market for. Do you write tree removing contractors?
We do not. No, we can do tree trimming if they're just standing on the ground trimming some trees. That's it.
And the last question, and then I think then we can move forward. For property, is there a cutoff year?
No, we will write regardless of the year. If it's more than 90 years old, we're only going to offer functional building valuation. But I actually underwrote one this morning, and it was built in 1896 or something like that. So we don't have any restrictions on the year the building was constructed.
Okay. Do you write coastal 2-unit condo associations in New Jersey?
We would. If it's coastal, the property would be excluded, or would be $1 million and exclude wind and hail.
Got it. All right.
All right. So let's move on here. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. Specialty educators, trainers, and instructors. Basically, this is anything that is in a learning setting. So a tutoring, music class, dance classes. We would do like a wine tasting event, or not event, but business under this. Anything where someone comes to you and is learning something, or you are going somewhere and teaching something, would fit under our specialty training schools product. Professional liability, abuse and molestation, minimum premiums start at like $300. Just a really great all-encompassing product. So in the summer, where we see a lot of these are like sports camps. So if you might have the baseball coach at a high school or college, he's going to teach some week-long camps in the summer, that would fall under this. So again, anything in that learning environment, whether it's athletic, music, school, anything like that, definitely think of Apogee. Concessionaires and vendors. So really, we have carved out, years and years ago, we wrote these as restaurants, but they weren't really, a food truck isn't really a restaurant. A concessionaire isn't a restaurant. They have such a low premises exposure that we were able to carve out a little product for them. So this is your food trucks. If you go to like a farmer's market and there's all the stands, everything like that, we can consider. If you walk up to a stand, purchase something and walk away, that's where this is what the market is for it. Blanket additional insured form is included on every single policy you're going to get, because we know that especially if they're moving from place to place, the last thing that you want an insured to do is have to call you every week saying, now I'm going to be at this farmer's market. Now I'm going to be at this farmer's market. So that is automatically included. We can include the inland marine for their property, including theft coverage. So if they have a cart, that can be covered. Their stock can be covered, everything in it. All right, the last thing that I'm going to touch on is commercial access and umbrella. So everything that we've talked about today and over 700 additional classes that USLI writes on a primary basis, we can include access and umbrella coverage for. USLI does not have to be the primary carrier for this. We write this unsupported over any carrier rated B++ or better. We can include the commercial auto and employer's liability. So where I said earlier, we can't write the auto, we still can't for truckers, but on the excess, We can write over light and medium vehicles. We can include limits up to $5 million. We do have to be that first $1 to $5 million layer. We don't write any excess layering. But again, it is just a slam dunk. Our bind to quote ratio for excess and umbrella is in the upwards of 60%. There is no one that beats us from a premium or coverage. We're follow form. So any excess needs that you have, definitely send to Apogee. The one area where currently we can consider on the excess, where we cannot consider on the primary, is straight 100% apartments. So we are currently on the primary, not writing apartments, 100% apartments. On the excess, we sure can up to 100 units. So definitely keep that in mind for your excess needs. So got through all of those. I'm going to turn this back over to Connor real quick, but then again, I can stay on for as long as people need and answer different or additional questions.
Yeah, any questions that have come in, I'm just going to hold them until Connor's finished with his part, and then we'll go back and finish up the questions at the end. So everybody just keep sending them in, and we'll get them all answered before we hop off.
I've tried answering a good amount of questions through the chat. Hopefully some of what I cover will already answer some of those questions, and we'll get into the ways that you can quote this. But certainly for any questions, there's going to be ways that our team of underwriters like Christy can help with those as well. So really just want to touch on the 3 different ways that you can get a quote through Apogee with USLI. So one is going to be through any email submission, whether that be by paper application or Accord form. We can review anything. But then we have our 2 quote-unquote instant quote platforms. So first, we're going to have our online quoting platform, but then we also have a phone quote number where you can call right into our team of underwriters. So what is instant quote? Well, to boil it down, it's the quickest and easiest way to get a quote available with us here at USLI. In easy terms, you have access to a dedicated phone number through Apogee where you can dial in and get connected to our team of over 80 underwriters who are ready to assist you over the phone. From there, we ask a couple key rating and information questions in order to generate a premium. And then following the call, we send you a copy of a quote along with a pre-filled application that your applicant can verify and sign. So as we touched on earlier, we are just one of the very many markets that you have access to through Apogee. So if there's ever a reason where you call in and something's not a fit with us here at USLI, we transfer you back over to Apogee for help with some of their other markets. So the benefits to you, this really helps to save time, just with there being no Accord form or application needed up front. Then, like I mentioned, we have that pre-filled application that gets sent to you along with the quote on the back end. There's that level of flexibility, so you can add this as a speed dial or reach out over the phone. And then we also have that level of accessibility with some expanded underwriting hours from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, as well as 9 to 1 on Saturday. So now we're just going to walk through really what this looks like to quote one of the products that Christy had covered here over the phone. But with that, I know a lot of people were asking about different appetite and kind of product offerings. So this is our instant quote postcard. Now, this isn't all that we can consider here at USLI, but it is what we can quote over the phone or web. So if you do have any questions about something that may be a fit for us or not, this is the phone number that you're going to want to call into to speak with an underwriter further. But here real quick, I am just going to get an underwriter online, and then we'll show exactly what it looks like to quote over the phone. Hey, Deb, you still there?
I am still here.
Perfect. Well, we have our friends from Apogee on the line, and we're looking to get a janitorial quote here today.
Okay, perfect. So can I ask the applicant's name?
Yes, it is going to be for Test Janitorial.
All right, perfect. All right, there we go. And what state is this going to be in?
This is going to be in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Now, have they had any losses or claims in the past 3 years?
They have not had any losses or claims.
Awesome. All right, tell me a little bit about this risk, if you could, Connor. What kind of things are they cleaning?
So they're really just doing light cleaning in office buildings?
Okay. No residences?
Nope.
No banks or theaters or retail stores, anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. They are all things that we can do, but just so you're aware, this does have a classification limitation on it. So if they are cleaning in those places, we need to be rating for it in order for them to have coverage. So I've got that updated here. Now, how many full-time and how many part-time
They have
janitors
2
do they have?
full-time employees and no part-time.
Okay. And you said just light dusting?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Vacuuming, the normal
Exactly. Yeah.
weekly cleaning things or daily cleaning things in an office. Okay, perfect. What's the location address that they are cleaning?
So they are based out of 123 Main Street, and that's in Wayne, Pennsylvania, zip code 19087.
All right, perfect. And do you know what liability limits they're looking for?
1 mil, 2 mil, please.
All right, got that. Now, did we want to include the blanket additional insured on this?
Not at this time, but good to know it's available.
It is available. And how about, do they ever hire independent contractors? Now, this would be in scenarios where they're either unable or unwilling to do the things like floor waxing, for instance.
No, not for this operation.
Okay, perfect. That also is available. And we also have an inland marine endorsement. We call it a little 3-for-1 endorsement. It gives them a little bit of equipment coverage, some lost key coverage, and some rental reimbursement coverage. Do you think they might be interested in that?
Not at this time, but good to know it's available as well.
It is available, absolutely.
Perfect.
All right. Pretty straightforward for this one. How many years have they been in business?
5 years.
5. Okay, perfect. We can add a little bit of discount there for them.
Awesome.
All right. I do have a quote here for you already. It's going to be admitted with United States Liability Insurance Company. It's an AM Best rating of A++ superior, and it is an annual term. It's going to be eligible for direct bill up to a 2-payment plan. We're providing the 1 million, 2 million liability limits for 2 full-time janitors. Also included in that is the property damage extension. Gives them a little bit of coverage if they knock over a monitor while they're dusting or something like that in the office.
Makes sense. Okay.
Okay. And the annual premium all in is going to be $745, and it is eligible for, like I said, direct bill up to a 2-payment plan.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Now I'm going to send this over to you. You're going to get 2 copies of the quote. One is for you, one is for your applicant. There's going to be a partially completed application with some additional questions on it. We can go over them now if you'd like, or I can send them over for you to go over with your applicant.
Yeah, if you could just email it over, that would be great.
Perfect. I'll get that over to you right away. All the binding instructions are going to be right on there, and then there's going to be some marketing materials included in the attachment.
Well, that sounds great.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Deb.
Sure thing. Thank you. Is there anything else I can help you with?
That is all for today.
All right. Well, thanks so much, and you have a great day.
Have a good one. You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
So as everyone can see, in just a couple minutes, we were able to get connected with an instant quote underwriter and get a quote. So it really is that quick and easy, when giving a call in through this dedicated phone number. So I saw someone as a condo association. Please feel free to reach out. We would definitely be more than happy to assist, and we'll make sure to get a copy of this out to everyone as well. So what to expect after the call? Well, within just, a couple minutes or even seconds, you'll receive a copy of that quote along with a pre-filled application, as well as some additional marketing materials for your insured. So we always want to make sure that Apogee is in the loop so they receive copies of the quotes as well. And then if this is something that you and your insured want to move forward with, you would send your bind request over to your contact at Apogee. So one next thing that we want to touch on is just the web quoting feature. So within the last year, we've done a great job in, working with Apogee, and we're really excited because our new web quoting platform is up and running on their website. So what you would do is go on and select the online quoting tab, and from there, click Instant Quote. That is where you'd be taken to this landing page where you can quote all those products over the web as well. So This is obviously a 24/7 platform. And then on there as well, we have web chat underwriters who can help to answer any questions or concerns if you'd rather work on quoting that way. So just to wrap things up a little bit, if there is anything on your desk or if you have any questions about anything that we may be a fit for, we can always be reached at 888-845-1637. And then as a reminder, we do have those extended underwriting hours over the phone from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, as well as 9 to 1 on Saturday. But that was all that Christy and I had to share here today. I know there's still, a good amount of questions, so we'll head over there.
Yep, we'll get through these. So I guess, Christy, this one would be for you, I would assume. Do you have a list of ineligible electrical panel manufacturers, as many do now, Zinsco, et cetera?
Yeah, so we do require circuit breakers. They have to be 100 amp at least.
Are there any? Do you have an ineligible list of manufacturers that you don't?
Oh, list of manufacturers.
Yeah, sorry.
But we do not have a specific list of manufacturers.
Okay. I think someone asked, is that the Allied Healthcare Program? Probably when you're talking about the schools. I think that was probably a further question, but certainly we do a lot of Allied Healthcare at Apogee, and we can provide the GL with everything we do there. So if you have any issues, then reach out to your marketing rep or me. I'll give you my contact info here before we're off, and we'll be happy to get back to you with more information on that if you need it.
Brian, real quick on that, there's
Yep.
a lot of products within USLI between professional and commercial lines that kind of overlap.
Mhm.
We talk amongst ourselves all the time between teams. So if you get something to Apogee, if Apogee sends it to me in commercial lines, and I think the best place for it for the insured to get the best coverage is professional, I would send it to them and vice versa. So just get it there and we'll figure out where is the best home for it.
Okay. Does that include dance studios when you're talking earlier?
Yes. So dance studios would be commercial lines under the specialty training school that I touched on.
Yep. Can we write homeowners on the Apogee website, or is it submit with a cord form?
So USI does not write homeowners.
Right. Nor does Apogee. We don't do any personal lines. So
that would be a no-go.
yeah, all the way around. That's a no, unfortunately. Connor answered that. What about GL for travel baseball leagues?
So that's going to be nonprofit, and I can't tell you for certain. I don't underwrite nonprofit, but they would be who
we do write those products. Yep. We do write that product. Youth and adult sports leagues. So.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure since that's rented a nonprofit package unit that they do include a GL with that.
They would. Yep.
How about certified firearms instructor that is approved by the state?
Certified what type of instructor?
Firearms.
We do not write any type of firearms instruction.
Okay. What about teaching use the gun? Same question. Are you doing first aid CPR instructors?
We do not do it if there is any actual physical training. So if it is a classroom instruction, yes, we can consider it. If there is any like on-site or you go to hospitals or something like that, that's where we wouldn't consider it. Allied Health, though, and Professional, I think, does do some of the CPR training. So it would be worth sending in, and we can see if we have a good fit for
it. Do we write workers' comp? No, unfortunately, we do not write workers' comp in any state, any form or fashion. We're not there yet.
Yeah, we can't. On the excess, we can do the employer's liability portion when it's in conjunction with the GL.
Okay, Connor answered that. Sorry, I missed that. What is the minimum premium for vendors?
For concessionaire and vendors, it starts at $295.
Okay.
And we can do the mobile trucks too. They're a little bit more expensive, but we can consider those as well.
GVW restriction for commercial auto? Well, you don't do commercial auto, so that would be 0, correct? I mean, above me down umbrella. I don't know if you.
Yeah, on the umbrella, we can do light and medium, and on the I don't know where the weight cuts off at the end of medium, but no heavy.
Okay. What is the retention limit for the umbrella?
We do not have a self-insured retention. If you're talking about where we attach at, we can attach at $500,000.
Okay. Is there a waiting period for submissions, Dan? I think the answer to that would probably be no. We could take submissions right now. If that's your question. Turnaround time for email submissions, I think we try to treat our commercial lines the same as we treat our professional liability. I can tell you that by and large, we're trying to turn things 24, 48 hours. Certainly a carrier like USLI turns things, in most cases, has the ability to turn it same day. With Traveler Select, that could be something if you need a rush on that. If it fits their appetite, we probably could do for you same day because we quoted ourselves. But by and large, we're going to be hopefully 24, 48 hour turnaround time on most things, but it certainly could be longer depending on product and claims and whatnot. The lessons risk only online quote process is great. Thank you for Francesca. Appreciate that. And then I think, is there any restriction in New York for contractors?
No, so there's not. Countrywide, we can go up to $500,000 in payroll and $1 million in sales. Having said that, where we're going to be the most competitive is the 1 to 3 person operation. So no, any class that is eligible in New York is the same that's eligible in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Georgia, California. So our eligibility is the same.
Right. Probably the only regional restriction there is no action over, correct? I think you mentioned that earlier.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Any restriction to your contractors answered that. Someone has a need for a quote for a condo association, reach out to us. We'd love to quote it for you. How much is the AI or waiver on blankets? Or blankets?
So it varies based on the product. Anywhere from $100 for the blanket waiver, usually 50-ish, depending on the product for waivers, PNC. The enhancement endorsement for contractors that's going to include all of that in the per project aggregate is going to vary by state, anywhere from 200 to 450.
All right. Direct bill is available, or all agency billed, both agency billed and direct billed. Usually if it's admitted, then we have the ability to offer direct bill through USLI. Connor, I'm not sure on the commercial side if it's not admitted, if direct bill is available. I do not believe it is, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, so if anything is not admitted, that would be agency billed. With us here, if anything is admitted, it has the opportunity to be direct billed. So you are correct.
Yeah, only real quick, the only thing, it has to be admitted on an annual basis. So vacant buildings, we can write on a 3, 6, 9 or annual basis. So if it's one of the 3, 6 or 9s that you bind, direct bill wouldn't be available. Concessionaires, if it's a short term, like a Christmas tree lot or something like that, that would be short term and also not eligible for direct bill.
This next one's a good question, Christy, because I do think there's a confusion here sometimes when we talk about this. But if you're not doing a homeowners, what do you mean by 1 to 4 family dwellings?
Yeah, so I own a dwelling and I rent it out. Like an investment property. So anyone that owns residential properties that does not occupy them, but rather leases them out, that would be a 1 to 4 family dwelling. If it's a 2, 3, or 4 family dwelling and it's owner occupied, we can consider that. We wouldn't consider that a standalone. That's not a true homeowners because there's additional units in there as well.
Right. So no primary personal lines homeowners, but if someone owns a home and they're renting it out, or it's a multi-unit and they live in it, we could cover that.
Yeah. So it's investment property.
Yep. Do you write lesser's risk with an emission testing business as the only tenant?
I would want to know a little bit more exactly what they're doing. We write auto repair as tenants all the time. So as long as it's not a whole lot more in depth than that, we could definitely take a look at it.
Do we write E&O? The answer to that is yes, we write E&O for anything. So if you need professional liability, Apogee can absolutely help you on anything that you have that needs E&O. We can write it, and we write some funky stuff. So we can absolutely handle that for you. Do you write restaurants that are not sprinklered?
We can, yes. The cooking equipment has to have all proper exhaust systems over it, but we do not require restaurants to be sprinklered. Our TIV does go down a little bit if they are not sprinklered. But yes, we can.
Okay. And can we show the phone number again in a submissions email?
Brian, submissions email is just submissions@apogeeinsgroup.com, correct?
Correct.
Perfect.
And the Apogee phone number, I mean, this is the instant quote phone number. The base phone number for Apogee, if you're looking to call in, is 877-337-3200. That's our 800 number. And then from there, you can certainly follow the prompts and get to anybody within the company you need to reach. Endorsement requests go through Apogee directly through USLI. They would come through Apogee, and we would handle those for you. Can we finance with a third party? The answer is yes. At Apogee, I think we have the ability to offer you some finance options as well, but you're certainly welcome to finance with a third party. How about mixed properties, Christy?
Yes, we absolutely can. Commercial, office, anything, apartment up to 100 units on top, we can consider.
Okay. Do you write gas stations? Any restrictions?
We can write GL for gas stations. It has to be in conjunction with a convenience store. So we're not going to do just gas. There has to be a convenience store exposure as well, up to $3 million in sales.
All right. In addition to that, if you're writing a gas station, Apogee can write the underground storage tanks for you. So we can write basically everything for you. We can write the GL, the property in that situation with USLI, and we can cover the tanks with a different carrier. With tanks, we can do up to 30 years, and we do have a couple markets that'll take a look at over 30-year-old tanks, but it's wicked expensive, but we can look at them. Do they do inspections, Christy?
Yes, there are certain products that we do inspections on. So yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
We don't do it on all. I would say about 40% of what we write, we're going to inspect in one way of it or another. A lot of them are self-inspections. So we have an inspections team within USLI that's going to reach out to the insured, schedule a call. They'll have to send us some pictures, things like that. We have some products where we're actually going to physically inspect or audit. So yes, we do do inspections.
Okay. Do you write silkscreen printing businesses?
We sure do.
See, does the investment property, 1 to 4 families, have to be LLC, or can it be an individual name?
It can be an individual name. Yep. LLC, individual, corp, partnership, all of them are good. Trust, estates.
Okay. Do you write restaurants with entertainment?
We do. So that's in our hospitality and liquor team, and they can consider adult entertainment, regular entertainment with bouncers. Yes.
The LL policy premiums for liquor stores very, very expensive from USLI. Any revisions downward expected? I don't know. We qualified to answer that, but
so that's in the our hospitality and liquor team, and yes. So lots of our products, depending on where it's written, the premiums are going to vary. The rates are so different by state and by zip code even sometimes. So you might get a quote for a liquor liability for a convenience store in Florida, and it might be super expensive, and you might fall out of your chair for one located in Kentucky because it's so cheap. So every product is going to vary by rate and premium based on the location for the most part. And I don't know, I apologize. I don't know if they're looking at any change in rates or premiums for liquor liability for liquor stores.
okay. Appetite for 8+ unit apartments, LSR risk, question mark?
So we would not do just standalone apartments at all on a primary basis. We can consider it on a lesser's risk. Where we can consider it is if it's the apartments, then with a commercial occupancy as well.
What states do you not write? I believe that's Louisiana, uh, Alaska, and West Virginia. Are those the only 3 states you don't write in?
Yes, we do not do property in Hawaii.
Got it.
Shocking.
There we go. Condo that is owner occupied, okay, or they have to be tenant occupied?
So it would have to be tenant occupied for us to consider it. The only exception is we write a lot of condos that are in the name of a business. So like if USLI had a condo that we owned in New York and we had, individuals living there from our company, the president went and stayed there when he was in town or something, that would be eligible.
Okay. How about auto dealerships? Any restrictions?
For auto dealerships, we're only going to be able to offer strict premises only coverage. So it's a stripped down liability policy. It's really just covering trip and fall. We're not going to cover their operations, personal advertising injury, anything like that.
Yeah, any wind and any hail damage or anything like that to the cars or anything like that. Certainly not something that we're going to cover.
Yeah, we don't, for the property, we can do the building, but we wouldn't cover the autos.
Yep. Do you write property with first floor laundromat and 13 apartments above laundromat for tenants only?
Yes, we could. Just property only. If it's building coverage, we would not, right? It would have to be in conjunction with the liability. There are a few states, Florida, California, New York, and I think there's one more that we do not write property coverage for laundromats. However, if this is just an apartment building with a laundry, like just the apartment unit owners own, we would not write that because we would consider that a standalone apartment.
Okay. This next one's for me. So I'm sorry about the confusion on the 877 versus the 888 number listed on the screen that's currently up by Connor. The 888-845 number, that is directly calling into our instant quote platform. To call Apogee directly, you would use the 877-337-3200 number. Now, from that, you could always, there is a number you can push to get transferred to the instant quote. But if you're looking to just get a direct instant quote, that is the 888 number. If you're looking to call anyone at Apogee directly to speak with anyone here within the company, that is the 877 number. So sorry about the confusion on that. Have a few more. Do they do audits every year?
Not typically. No, it's going to depend on the risk. If there's a reason that we feel like it should be audited every year, I'm not saying that it would never happen, but that's not common practice.
Okay. How old can a 3 to 4 family conversion be?
We have no restrictions on the age of it. It could be built in 1800.
Perfect. Next one, do you do one-day events, wedding parties? Can they have alcohol at the party? So the answer is yes, we do one-day special events. And that is actually something you can quote on our website or through our phone quoting platform. And certainly alcohol can be involved there for those special events. They will do liquor liability with that. Will loss runs be required for underwriting?
Typically, no. There are a few products, childcare being one of them, where we do require loss runs. Typically, when we want to see them, though, is when there has been some loss activity.
Okay. You exclude a single car garage with asbestos siding from a rental multifamily.
So we wouldn't write just the garage. If the whole risk is eligible, we might be able to, but we wouldn't be able to do just the individual garage.
Okay, and looks like this might be the last question here, I think. The insurance industry in general and in terms of premium revision is going through an upheaval. What does the future look like for you?
It's a really great question. It depends. So we are a very conservative carrier when it comes to what we write. We want to be very certain of what we're writing. And so it does not affect us as much as it does other carriers because we know very well what is in our book of business. So there are no drastic changes that I know of. We have recently taken a pause writing the standalone apartments just because we want to get our head and hands around exactly what's going on in the habitational world with regards to apartments. But yeah, about 90% of our commercial book of business is admitted. So it is very difficult to change minimum premiums and rates and things like that. So that works in insured's favor for sure. But yeah, for USLI, we have a very good combined ratio. We are very stable. And again, it's because of our strict underwriting and what we want and what we write. So I hope that kind of helps answer that question.
Okay. Snow plowing and snow removal, commercial accounts acceptable?
We will consider snow removal on an incidental basis on our landscape contractors. However, we do exclude it. So it's going to be excluded. So they can do it. They're just not going to have any coverage from us on it.
So I think that's probably a big no.
It's a big no, yes. For your own, it's a big no.
Yeah. How about yacht boat rentals?
We do not do any type of equipment rental at all for anything, boats, party equipment, anything like that.
All right. What if the Airbnb is used by the owner as well? Will they be covered if they have guests?
So we do seasonal rentals, which would be the same as an Airbnb. So like if I had a beach house that I only occupied partially, yes, that would coverage would extend to that as long as it's a covered loss.
Okay. Do I need to sign an agent contract agreement before submitting the business? The answer to that is no. Apogee is a very unique company in that we do not require signed contracts, nor do we have any premium commitments. However, the one thing you would need to do is go on to our website, and there is a link on there which is become a customer, and you'll have to provide us with your tax ID number and a copy of your E&O. But that is the extent of what it takes to do business with Apogee. So please feel free to go right onto that website and sign up, and we'd be happy to work with you. Let's see here. Does moratorium imposed, or is there a moratorium imposed?
I'm not sure exactly what that's in reference to. Are we talking like a brush fire or a coastal we do impose them when it's needed. We don't have like a blanket one. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I just happened to get an email. We're sitting here where there's a binding prohibition on the Smokehouse Creek fire in Texas, it looks like.
That's yes.
Yep. So, are you non-renewing existing apartments?
We are not, no. And we are not done writing standalone apartments. We are just taking a break. So we will start writing them again at some point. It's just not right this second. If you have a valid quote that hasn't expired for an apartment, we're honoring all of those binders, and we are not non-renewing any of them. Okay.
And with that, looks like we've come to the end of the questions. So great job, attendees. Wonderful questions. We certainly appreciate that. We appreciate your business and your time. Certainly, Christy and Connor, very much thank you for your time. Job well done as always. But if at any point in time, if anybody ever has any questions, please feel free to reach out to your Apogee sales representative, or you can reach out to Brandon or I. And again, you'll be getting a copy of this presentation as well, emailed to you. And we thank you for your time. Any questions come up, let us know. But it looks like we did get one last question here. Let's see. Does your family dwelling replacement cost and water coverage? Does it include, I'm sorry, does your family dwelling include replacement cost and water coverage?
So we can offer replacement cost for any building that is 60 years or newer, as long as within, I think, 25 years, it's been pretty much gutted with new heating, plumbing, electrical. As far as water damage, we do not offer water backup coverage on any habitational risk that we write, but water damage liability would be included.
Okay, it looks like a last one here. Looks like and we may not know the answer to this. I may have to call the customer directly, but individual in New York City buying a brownstone and wants to do the renos himself, is he required to take out the building permits? I don't know if you know that the answer off the top of your head, Christy, but I may have to just reach out and give him a call here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're required to or not.
Okay. And it looks like that's it. So thanks everybody. Have a great afternoon. Thank you for your business. Job well done again, Connor and Christy, and everybody have a great day.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Christy.